welcome everyone to the Game Ball Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Schuster. Joining me tonight are Jenny Aquino and Mark Myers. Tonight we'll be discussing our grievances with new consoles, and we'll be reviewing our Retro Roulette game, Metroid, for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Before we get to all of that, what have you guys been playing? Let's go with Mark, because I'm sure he's got a list of things this week because of Game Pass.
Yeah. So, number one off the bat, I have purchased Mlb the Show. The reason I did so was I went to go buy a power brick to fix my Xbox One so that I could get it free on Game Pass, and it was almost as much to buy it on the PlayStation 5 as it would be to replace my power brick. So I thought, since I would have to hook up my entire Xbox One again, I will just spend that money and get it for the system that I'm not playing much on, just to actually justify the purchase until June, which is when it will definitely be justified. So I've been playing a lot of the show. I think I discussed this on a stream, but my favorite thing, and it's still great on the show, is playing games in the most ridiculous stadium that I have is the Polo Grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And because left and right field is like 250 feet, which is basically a pop-up, can go out, and center field is 483. So essentially, I've hit 2 home runs that would have been out of any other park, like over 430 feet, that have been caught by the outfielders. And
for reference, pretty much every fence in the MLB right now is over 300 feet. So
yes, yeah.
So
sorry.
being 250 feet is really, really short.
Yeah. 250 feet is literally where outfielders stand.
Yep.
Before a play. Just to tell you how short the poles are. And the walls go straight out, so there's no curve to them. So it's like 250, 260, 270, like, so you can even get like near the gap and it's like just starting to get to 300. But since it goes in a straight line, it gets ridiculously deep by the end of it.
And the Polo Grounds were built before like multiple use stadiums were really a thing. So it's pretty much a football field that they decided they were going to play baseball in. Essentially.
Yeah. So but the flip side is my other favorite part is a lot of triples and inside the park home runs. Because if you get a perfect swing and you hit it right in the gap, depending on your runner's speed, you can get home runs that way. And the other fun thing is that they put injuries in the middle of the game, which I don't remember if that was in past games or not. Like I was facing Jacob deGrom, and he was dominating me like a 2-hitter, and then he hurt his hip in the middle of an at-bat, and they pulled him, and then I ended up, going ham on the Mets bullpen. But like I never seen anybody get pulled middle of the at-bat. I don't know if that's new or it's newer in the last couple of games. So that was a cool addition. I have not tried retro mode, but a lot of people I talk to say it's real good, and it's as close to like SNES Griffey as these games have gotten.
I did not. Why did I not know retro mode was a thing? I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. So I haven't checked it out yet, but and I did my normal thing of just making a monster team because I don't want to go up there with a guy that's like a 70 playing in my franchise mode and just not be able to hit anything because I'm not good enough at the game yet. So yeah, that's what I've been doing with that. What else have I played? I've watched all Legion, also for the PS5. The game's fine so far. It's reminded me of what Watch Dogs, is essentially. I'm getting in the flow of it again. I was trying to play it as like a stealth game.
Yeah, I mean, you can play it as a stealth game, but it doesn't really work very well.
No, it was really tough, and I lost out on a mission early on. Because I tried the stealth and somebody blew up the thing I was trying to steal. So now because the whole thing of Watch Dogs Legions is you're recruiting people. It's not one main character, it's a group of characters, a legion.
Right. Real quick before we get too far away from that, how does it feel playing as multiple characters and not having like a main protagonist?
Well, I technically have a main protagonist.
Well, you might have is it you like the person you decided I'm going to use this person all the time?
Exactly.
Or did it tell you? Okay.
No, you pick one person in the beginning, and I just never switched off them yet.
Okay.
I should probably do that. but I have not. I lost one of them. Hates me now, and I got to wait until I level up, the Legion to be able to re-recruit that guy. Driving is fun. The cool part about avoiding the cops and all, or trying to avoid the cops, is they have like this futuristic system where if you drive through these I'm trying to think of the word. It's literally like a hologram sort of thing, a scanner, and you drive through and they know where you are and then they'll come. So you got to kind of try and avoid those. Cops are pretty easy to avoid, but you could be going down the street and trying to set up something to take out a cop car behind you, and then you run through one of those barriers and you have two more cars on you because now they know where you are. And so that's been fun. It being in England is fun. Just what they went with apparently all the accents live in London. Like every single accent you can think of on the island of Britain is there. But yeah, it's a Watch Dogs game. It's pretty fun so far. I haven't touched much of the main story, so don't really know with that. What else have I played? I played a couple randomizers. Debating on whether to get back into that greatly. There's one other game I played. Final Fantasy 14.
I was going to say, haven't you been sinking all of your time into one game?
Well, no, it's been a mixture, but I don't know if I'm going to get the subscription for it. I like it a lot, but I don't know if it's like me buying a $12 a month subscription worth of fun, because I don't play it enough to be worth it. I don't play it every day, so
it's definitely one of those games you need to play every day. You need to sign in and do like the daily things.
Yeah, especially if you're paying for it on a monthly basis. But it's a really fun game. It sucks that I can't do the free trial because I signed up for something 8 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like once they did the big expansion where they basically redid the whole game, they should have redone that.
Well, no, that's when I jumped in when that came back, which was about 8 years. Like I'm saying 8 years, but whenever that happened, I jumped into that free trial apparently on my PS4 or 3 or whatever it was, and so now I need to create a whole new Square account to be able to use the free trial, and I'm like, I didn't want to go through that because if you're playing it on PlayStation, it will pull your PlayStation ID, and I can't unconnect my PlayStation ID from my Square account because that is where all the stuff for Final Fantasy VII Remake lives.
Man.
So, anything that could be tied to that coming up with Intergrade.
They got you.
Yeah, they got me. But it's a good game. I've done a lot of fetch questing. Basically, I did everything. Like running back and forth, dropping off letters, picking up materials, and running them one corner of the map. Basically, the fetch questing is letting you learn the map of the town.
Mm-hmm.
Is essentially what it does.
Okay.
I finally got my girl some clothes. She was wearing a really short wench dress. And I was like, I gotta get her some clothes because this is even uncomfortable. And my only other options were that or bra and panties when I was getting out of the character creator. I'm like, well, I guess I gotta deal with this. So like I said, I'm an ice magic user. So as I mentioned on Mortal Kombat, they call this a movie, which you should hear before this or maybe after this. But I really do like.
I would hope before this.
Stuff.
I think it's out already.
Mm-hmm. And so you've been doing that. And the other thing I played, which I think I'm missing tonight, unless it was Saturday, I forget which day I played it. I played the Resident Evil Village demo.
Oh, nice.
For the, it's only a certain amount of time you get to play it. I think it's tonight. I think I'm going to miss the second one.
Yeah, it's good tonight or tomorrow.
So it was good. It's first person Resident Evil 4 essentially. From what I gathered in that village, that we were doing,
They've been first person since 7, correct?
Well, not the remakes.
Well, the mainline ones.
Yeah. The remake of 2 and 3 are still third person.
Right, but 7
was first person and this was first person.
Right.
It's the same character. Animations look great. The RE engine looks amazing on the PlayStation 5. Load time's fantastic. There's no transition between cutscenes and It's all in engine. The shooting feels great. They brought back the attaché case from Resident Evil 4, so you get to Tetris your items that fit in there.
So that's the worst. It's like Diablo has that. Has that to this day.
Tom, some people, it's such a split. There are some people like, holy shit, the attaché case is back. Yes!
I'm sure they love it for like 5 seconds, and they're like, no, I need to get rid of this.
No, there are some people that truly love it. It's like one of those things that I see on the internet and podcasts and stuff like that. But yeah, so it looks good so far. I'm upset that I'm missing Castle because I'll get to see the giant lady. So hopefully when they put the whole demo out in 2 weeks, I'll be able to play it. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. I've been thinking about getting back into maybe playing some Civ and stuff like that.
Ooh.
I've been looking at it. Also American Truck Simulator, because I did buy the Colorado map. And have not played it since then. Wyoming's coming out soon, then Texas.
Trucking Tuesday.
Yep.
No. I have to have a day to record They Call This a Movie.
I like that. No.
No, I literally, the last 2 times I did that stream, I was falling asleep while playing it. Just because I don't think you guys were on Discord for those. So there was like nobody talking to me.
Oh, yeah. Then you're actually driving a truck, falling asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. So, so none of that. But just maybe on my free time doing it. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff that is coming out. Checking, can't think of anything off the top of my head outside of Intergrade. But Returnal's coming out soon. So that's got a lot of positive buzz.
Jen, how about you?
Playing the same thing that I always talk about for the most part, just because I literally don't have time to do anything else. So I've been playing some Dead by Daylight, as everyone would know. Dead by Daylight, actually, speaking of Resident Evil, they announced they're coming out with a Resident Evil chapter in June, I believe it's going to drop, which is awesome. This is something that personally I've been wanting, because every once in a while they come out with a licensed chapter. I think it's like 1 to 2 times max a year, maybe just once a year. And everyone's been saying they really want Resident Evil as, the chapter. So they finally announced that they're doing it. I think it technically got leaked, and then it was such big news that they were like, okay, we're announcing it. But everyone's really excited. Nobody cares about the new killer and survivor anymore now. I kind of feel bad. It's like old news. It was out for like 3 weeks. Now nobody cares. But there's all kinds of theories on who they're going to make as the survivor, or maybe 2 survivors like they did with Stranger Things. So it'll be very interesting. I hope that they don't go super obscure, because I think their fan base is counting on this to be epic. So I think they're going to do the right thing, and they're going to pick some main characters. But sometimes they make questionable choices, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, well, you would think it's going to be Chris, Joe, and Wesker.
Right. You never know. Some people were saying they want the mold people, and everyone's like, why? Why would you even want that?
You could have some great Jill jokes in there.
Yeah.
Jill sandwich jokes.
Well, I could see them doing Barry.
What they did for Silent Hill, which is the last, that's the last licensed chapter that they did. I think it was last year. They did legacy skins for the survivors. So they had the one main survivor, Cheryl, and then you can purchase skins, and it's technically still Cheryl. You still have like her abilities, but they look like different characters in the game. So hopefully they do that. Maybe they start out with like Jill and Leon or Chris and whoever, and then they start allowing you to purchase skins for other characters. That would be the smartest thing.
Is that Rookie Copley as Kennedy?
Yes. Well, they think that the map is going to be in the police department. They think they're going to make a police department map.
Well, that would be smart, because Resident Evil 1, that's like the whole game, right? Is in the police
mansion.
department?
Mansion is game 1.
The mansion is game 1. People are saying that the mansion's probably going to be too big, because Dead by Daylight indoor maps are usually smaller. But you never know. I would say it's between the mansion and the police department. I think the police department makes more sense, but we'll have to see. I'm really excited for it. I think this is going to rekindle it for me.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get back into Dead by Daylight more. So.
Yeah, unless they go completely off the charts and do the Alaskan warehouse from Code Veronica.
I know. And that's what people are. I'm kind of a little bit afraid of them, like, going off the rails and doing a more obscure game or character. And then everyone just being like, that's it, I'm out. But yeah,
so you're back on the honeymoon stage.
Yep. Well, kind of.
When this comes
When this comes out, we'll be in the honeymoon stage again.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. I've been enjoying it more because I'm making sure that I'm only playing it while I'm having fun. So I'm not like just trying to force myself through it because I want to play it and see if it gets better. If I'm not having fun, I'm going to stop. So that's what making me less ragey, which is nice. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I have to report on for Dead by Daylight. Phasmo is amazing as ever. Still playing it. Still a lot of fun. I think I'm almost level 550 now. So I don't know what I was the last time. Maybe 100 levels down from where I am now. I don't know.
But the levels almost mean nothing to me because it goes so high.
Yeah. So I think the highest people right now are over 3,000. So it's I don't know if there's I don't think there's a cap. I don't know, but the developer's still doing a great job. I think he went on vacation recently. So
that's right. It's just one dude, right?
Yeah, it's one main guy, and then he has a team of people that work with him, but most of the time they're handling more of the social media stuff and like the community on Twitch. But yeah, he's very good. He takes everyone's feedback. He answers people on their Discord. Like he's awesome. All about the community. He's really smart. Yeah, so he's doing a really good job. He actually confirmed, I don't know if I mentioned this, one of my viewers had stopped into my stream and they were chatting with me about the game, and I was saying how I was hoping it was going to come to console soon because I have friends that don't have PCs that can play it. And they actually reached out to the developer on Discord, and he confirmed that it is coming to console, definitely.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. And it will be cross-platform, which is
that's awesome.
Something I was really hoping for because that would kind of defeat the purpose almost at this point, because everyone who's on console has been watching and hoping, So good news there. So yeah, They're still cranking out updates and doing improvements in the beta and making it harder. So the only downside for all you console people is by the time that it comes out, it might be a really hard game because they keep finding new ways to make it difficult, and then our amazing big streamers that play it as part of their community keep finding ways to get around the difficulties, and just they excel at it. So they're trying to make it even harder. So it's a lot of fun. I know, again, not the game for everybody, but it's challenging and it's scary and it's hilarious when you play with friends. So I love it still.
Cool.
Also been playing Monster Hunter Rise with our friend Jonathan, which is our new Friday/Saturday stream. Soon to be only Saturday stream now, but that's been going fine. Jonathan's my tutor. He's my coach. So every time we play, he gives me pointers and I get a little bit better. I say this every stream or every podcast probably, but I have to start playing it more on my own because I'm a little rusty every time I pick it up. But the controls are just very complicated to me. So it's kind of hard to get back into the swing of things. But again, I'm getting better. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that complaint from a lot of people that especially for beginners, the controls are needlessly complicated.
Yeah. Like I said, I really like the game still, but to me, like, I don't see a point in some of the controls. Like to go through, there's like 4 different shortcut menus, and each one can pull up different things. So like half the time I'm clicking the wrong button when I'm fighting because I have all these other consoles in my head, or all these other controller button mappings in my head that I'm used to. Like for Dead by Daylight, the sprint button is not the sprint button in this game. So I'm like pulling up the menu in the middle of a fight by accident. And it's a lot, but it's fun. So I've been doing that. And then obviously Apex on Wednesdays with you guys, which has been going a lot better. We'll say that.
Yeah, we're still searching for that win, but it's definitely getting better.
We're getting closer to it. And then Metroid, I think, was the only other thing that I played outside of my usual games.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also purchased. Well, I didn't purchase, but on Game Pass, I'm playing the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I won't bore too many people with details on sports games. I know how much people like sports games on these podcasts, but
how's your Diamond Dynasty going? How many cards
I'm doing Road to the Show.
Okay.
So where Mark is playing as a whole team, I'm playing as one person. So I know that you make like it's basically create a character and then try to get them to the major leagues.
Yeah.
And I believe you at the end you can put them on a team and do a dynasty. I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that's how it works. It's been a long time since I played a show game, so I couldn't even tell you.
Yeah, I'm thinking they're trying to tie it in with Diamond Dynasty in the card game.
Yeah.
Everything, so.
Speaking of card games, I'm still playing Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories.
You see I did that, Tom?
I see that. That was good. Yeah, so I'm still constantly frustrated by this game, and Jonathan keeps like making fun of me because now he's further in the game than I am, even though he started well after me.
You inspired him,
I guess, but I also do. I don't just play one game. I play like 4 games at once because I'm a masochist. Because I'm playing that and the show, and then I just bought Spider-Man Miles Morales. So the same thing like you, I have to relearn the buttons to everything for 4 different games every time I turn it on.
Yep.
But yeah, Chain of Memories. I had to go back and look at a game fact. For those of you that are under the age of 20 or 25 even, GameFAQs was the place we went before YouTube existed. So that's where we'd go to get our strategies and our walkthroughs and I'm pretty sure is that what we're using for Suikoden?
Suikoden? Yes, we are.
We're using a GameFAQ. So if you ever are in the need of information for an old RPG or an old game that needs some sort of strategy, you could probably find it on GameFAQs.com.
And you can't get access to a Prima or a Bradley's guide?
Right. If you don't have the actual physical guide, that's the place to go. But my first official PS5 game has been Spider-Man Miles Morales, and man, it looks gorgeous. I really liked the first Spider-Man game, and this basically just takes it, and it's basically a DLC, but I like the Miles Morales character. He's a little unsure of himself, and it makes for an interesting an interesting story for him.
Some would say Spider-Man was Game of the Year.
Some would say Spider-Man was the Game of the Year. What was that, 2017?
Yeah, 17 or 18, something like that.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, which makes me feel old.
But yeah, it's been pretty much all I've been playing aside from, the usual Apex, Suikoden, and Metroid. Hopefully, in the next coming weeks, I'll have beaten some games so we can talk about them more. And then we'll get into the real game that we bought the PS5 for.
Yep.
All right. Jen, do you have any news for us this week?
Yep. We have a few stories. So in early April, I'll bring up the biggest story first.
Okay.
In early April, which may have been either our last podcast or the one before this one, we were discussing that, unfortunately, Sony had made the decision to close the PS3, PSP, and PS Vita devices from being able to purchase any new content from the gaming stores.
Oh, yes. We were not happy about this.
Yes. And as you guys agreed with, this sparked a lot of controversy in the video gaming world. And, of course, all 3 console gaming prices started to skyrocket, as well as games, etc., because of this, because they're rare now. However, this past week, Sony announced that they had a change of heart and they will no longer be shutting down PlayStation 3 or Vita gaming stores. And a direct quote from CEO Jim Ryan, he said, "It's clear we've made the wrong decision here."
No shit.
And he mentioned some, he's tugging at the heartstrings of everyone saying, all these matter so much to you guys, we didn't realize it, so we're letting you have it. Unfortunately, for some PSP fans, that is still being closed down, though. As of July 2nd, they're still going through with that one.
I can understand the PSP. The PSP is basically it came out before the PS3, so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only real issue with that is that PSP Go completely depends on the store to be useful, so. Let's
be honest. I don't know anybody who runs, besides me, a PSP Go on standard firmware. They're all cracked. Nobody runs them with standard firmware.
Yeah, that's really the only person, like that one person that's still out there doing that, Tom. That's the only person this whole thing really affects.
Yeah, like I downloaded all of my PS1 games, all like my classic. I don't play any actual PSP games on the PSP Go because
You don't have a UMD?
I have a regular PSP that I use for the UMDs. The PSP Go can't play the UMDs, so I don't bother putting PSP games on it. It's basically a mini virtual console that I have. That's really why I bought it, because it has a dock and you can use component cables and a wireless controller with it, which is the reason I purchased it in the first place, to use it as my PS1 Classic machine, because I was able to get games like The Misadventures of Tron Bonne, which is like a $400 game, and because it was $5 on the PSN store. So I loaded up on the rare ones when I found out that the stores were closing.
Yeah, the conspiracy theorist in all of us says that Sony just announced this so that people would go rush and buy a whole bunch of games and they could make some money.
Yeah, but they don't make any. They don't. Well, I guess if they're buying buying it off the digital store, yeah.
Yes.
But if people are just buying used copies of stuff, then I don't know.
What if that's the thing too? Like, what if that played a hand in it, where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get a spike in sales before we cut it down, whatever," and then they realize everyone's buying physical copies from other people, and they're like, "Shit." I don't know.
I think that the backlash was just so big.
Yeah.
And they've already had so many not good things happen already that they needed to backtrack.
Yeah, I still think it's leading to an announcement that they're going to do some type of backwards compatibility.
That would be great, but I don't know that that's going to happen. Like they've said that like people have seen like the emulator code or whatever in the PS5, but I don't know. If it happens, I'll be super happy. Because,
we'll see what happens at E3 in quotes.
quote unquote E3, yes.
Yep.
Because I think that they saw all the positivity that Xbox has been getting for backwards compatibility, and they thought, well, maybe we shouldn't shut down the store yet.
Well, I don't know if Jen, you can let me know if this story's in there. About the new thing they're possibly doing with PS Plus.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Go right ahead.
So, I don't know. I should have looked this up, but it just popped in my head as we were talking. There was somebody found, like, accidentally uploaded on the PlayStation store in Poland that part of PlayStation Plus, they were going to have, like, a video section that's like a Netflix style, video thing. And it looked like it was, like, full of Sony movies, which if there's one thing that they have over Microsoft that can maybe make them equal to Game Pass, it would be offering movies in a streaming like Netflix fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wouldn't even really have to, go license a lot. They could just do Sony only stuff and get a good amount of people to come in and then decide if they want to do, go license other studios. But I saw that and was like, well, if they're actually doing that, that's actually an intriguing way to maybe give them something different than what Game Pass offers. So it was supposed to start April 22nd in Poland. So I don't know if that actually happened or not.
I think it did.
Okay. Yeah. So, it's, if that comes worldwide or anything, because they're advertising Venom and a couple other like Sony properties with it. I think it's really their only shot to cut into any of that market.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like they got a lot of catching up to do on backwards compatibility stuff. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on to our next story. As many people know, Epic Games usually gives away a free game every week on a Thursday. So this week I was extra excited about what they're going to give away because it's actually 2 games. And one I've actually been very interested in playing, which is Alien Isolation. And the other one is Hand of Fate 2. So I'll just briefly, I'm sure most people listening can imagine what Alien Isolation is about. It's literally based on the horror movies.
Is that Manos?
Yes.
Manos Hands of Fate 2?
Actually,
they made a sequel to Manos?
I don't know. Well, this game, you tell me if that's what this is.
Hang on.
This game is a mix of a tabletop card game and an RPG.
Okay. So we'll rewind a little bit for the bit.
Yep.
Are you a Mystery Science Theater 3000 person?
No.
Okay. Tom?
Yes.
Okay. So that is why Jen did not get the joke. One of the most famous movies from Mystery Science Theater 3000 is a movie called Mano's Hands of Fate, and it is a really terrible movie.
Sorry, I ruined your bit.
No, she took it way too seriously.
I was like, yes, wait, I don't know.
When I said that, I was like, all right, I got to make sure she knows this joke.
Sorry.
No, you don't need to apologize. I just got to remember not a lot of people were.
Mark forgets that this is not, they called this a movie.
No, not even that. I sometimes forget that maybe people aren't as plugged into stupid shit like. Well, it's not stupid, but
it's nerd culture from back in the day. We're old.
We're old.
Yeah, but yeah. So that was my joke because you called the Hands of Fate. I answered it was Manos.
Someone out there listening got the joke.
Okay, continue, Jen.
So this Hands of Fate 2 is a tabletop card game and an RPG. So basically, each card unlocks either an enemy or an ability for your character, or a quest that you can go on and you can replay it. So it seems actually pretty cool. I didn't know it existed until I was reading up on it. But either way, those are available for free on the Epic Game Store. You literally just make a free account, and every week you're eligible to get a free game if you didn't already know. And these two games are available until April 29th. So
that was going to be my question.
Yep. Even though you're listening to it now on Monday, you still have a few days to take advantage.
I was like, Jen, did you make sure that it didn't expire?
I did. Mainly because I've been wanting to play Alien so bad that I'm like, tell me I looked at this like a day too late.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I wanted to mention it here, because we do have some time for everyone to take advantage if you haven't already.
Yeah. And do you have, not to keep jumping into the news segment, do you have the Humble Bundle story in there? No? Okay. Nope. This is real quick. I saw this on Twitter literally hours before this. Maybe it happened earlier in the day. I had a busy day at work. But apparently Humble Bundle is like changing the way it donates the stuff to charity.
Really?
It used to be you could do a slider and how much of your purchase goes to the charity, how much goes to Humble, and how much goes to the publisher developer.
Can you still pick your charity, though?
I don't know. That I didn't read too far into. But the main problem is it caps. They have a box now and not a slider, and it caps the charity donation at 15%.
Wow.
I mean, they probably found that people weren't donating more than 15%. Like most people.
No, the problem is that you can pay whatever you want for that stuff.
Right.
So they were probably finding that people were paying like $5 for that first level and then putting the whole $5 to charity, and the publisher wasn't getting any money.
Right.
So that's what happened.
Okay.
But or at least that's my hatred of capitalism believes happened. Because and everybody is pissed. It's one of those things that comes out on Twitter, and it's like normally all their comments on their Twitter thing is like 8 to 10 comments maybe. This one pops up and it's like 350. Like it's not even a ratio thing. But yeah, and then it's one of those things on Twitter where each story they post, the whole comment thread is just about them doing this cap of 15%. It has nothing to do with what they post.
Wow.
So I'm wondering if they're going to reverse, kind of like when Microsoft reversed raising Game Pass or whatever, whichever one gold.
Right.
I'm wondering if they're going to reverse this.
Yeah.
And apparently they were shadow doing this to users without telling them. Too. They apologized for that in their statement. So I haven't bought from Humble Bundle in a while. So I didn't even know any of this stuff was going on. But yeah, I saw that they were capping it at 15, and I'm like, it seems a little shady. And it seems like their excuse, which is a reasonable excuse maybe, is, it does cost money to run a business. So if none of the money was going to them, the publishers, would stop giving them games, and they, it's sort of that like evil stuff in the background, even though it's an all charity website.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I think if they allowed it to be 50-50, I think less people would be angry.
Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is there. I mean, charity stuff is always
it's like a lesser level. Like this is like anger from people. On
charity stuff is always a slippery slope.
Yeah.
When you change anything, people get upset, which is understandable.
Yeah. But like I said, if it went 50-50, I could see that. Maybe some people going, this sucks, but okay. It's still, but 15 just seems way too low. For especially since the other 85% is split between Humble and the developer or publisher.
Right.
Now, people can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments and all this, but I literally read that story in their statement a couple hours ago.
I think this all just happened a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
It didn't take long.
Yeah. So, yeah, just thought I'd throw that in while we were talking about stores and, free games and stuff like that. Felt like a good time to slip that in there.
No, it's perfect.
And Jen reminded me that Epic gives out games because I have not looked at my Epic store in months.
I have
since I finished Cyberpunk.
I have so many games on the Epic store that I will never play.
Yep.
Just happens. It's just what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when they give one away free every week. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I have to go check back in and see what's in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally realized I have not opened my Epic, the actual store page since Cyberpunk. Because when I play Hades, I just open Hades. And the store pops up and then minimizes immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. But what else you got? Sorry to
No,
to
you're
cut in
good.
there.
You're good. Keeping up with the Earth Day theme, I thought I would mention this because it does have a video game connection. This might not be the most interesting topic for people to hear. But Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney donated over 7,000 acres of privately owned land in Halifax County, Virginia, which made it the single largest land conservation gift in Virginia's history, which is pretty awesome. So he did this in time for Earth Day. And this piece of land is going to be owned and operated by the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation. And they're actually going to be working on habitat restoration, which is really nice to see. And he's actually really into habitat conservations, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
He's also donated in the past 7,000 acres to North Carolina's Box Creek Wilderness to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in 2016. And then this past Thursday, he also announced he's planning on donating another over 7,000 acres in Northwest North Carolina. So that's pretty cool. If you don't know him, he's, creator of Fortnite, Epic Games, CEO, again, like I said. So it's really awesome to see someone who has such a big net worth is giving back in a somewhat unique way. I think that's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, when you first heard that story, my cynicalness was, all right, how much money is it and how much of a write-off does he get for it? But land is a little different.
Yeah.
He probably still gets a write-off. Let's not get wrong. He can definitely help. This helps his taxes. But because he doesn't technically own the land anymore, that was a donation.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's land and not just money,
right?
Means that he cares about the cause, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
On that, if it would have been like, oh, Tim Sweeney donates, $2 million to the Virginia Conservation, I would be like, yeah, sure, his tax bill must have been high this year. That's where my cynical brain goes. But I'm glad to see, it's funny thinking about there is literally nothing in Northwest North Carolina. So good that it's being used for conservation.
Right.
Yeah, from my time down there, and I think at least you, Jen, have more experience in that state than me, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think Northwest is basically just like Eastern Tennessee.
It's a lot of land, a lot of open land.
Yeah.
But as we know, North Carolina is rapidly expanding and becoming the new New Jersey of New Jersey transplants. So it's nice that there's some preserved land too.
That's good.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice Earth Day story, all warm and fuzzy and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to buy up land to open up an epic warehouse.
That's going to be a next podcast. We're like, wait, now we're having Fortnite land.
I hope not. God, I hope not.
You would go to Fortnite land?
I don't know. I want to go to that Super Nintendo land, even though it looks boring as hell.
I'd go to Super Nintendo land. It does
look boring, but I would go to it too.
That's because nostalgia drives everything. So.
Yep, this is true. So I have one more story, and then we'll move on. So this one is something that we probably, the three of us at the very least, have heard about recently, and I certainly have. So if you're a Twitch streamer, you would know the dangers of being view-botted, especially as of late. And that basically means that someone is attacking your stream with a group of bot followers, meaning they're not real followers. They're literally bot accounts, And that could be anywhere from a few to hundreds of thousands of bot accounts.
Or millions.
Or millions, yes. And this doesn't exactly sound like a bad thing at first, but the dark intention behind it is that this person is hoping that they're going to inundate your stream with all these bot accounts, and that Twitch is going to turn around and think that you are purchasing these for yourself to increase your numbers, and they are going to shut your stream down. And people have been like really tiny, just starting out streamers have experienced this. I'm in a few networking groups where streamers haven't even hit affiliate yet, and they're being inundated with view botting. And people who are trying to, work their way up to partner are freaking out because, they were hit with all of these thousands of viewers, and they know that it's fake because you don't get 1,000 follows in one go usually. So everyone was really stressed about it. But luckily, Twitch has gone through and removed over 7.5 million fake bot accounts. So they did a major sweep of the platform.
I'd say that was a major sweep.
Yeah. So they, gave everyone a heads up, like, hey, just so you know, we're doing this sweep. You may experience decreases like suddenly in your follower or viewer counts because, these bots aren't just fake followers. Some of them are actually like fake viewers where they're sitting in your channel. So I've personally heard from a few streamers saying that maybe they've noticed anywhere from like 10 to 20 follows, dropped off pretty immediately. Which is fine. Everyone's pretty, well, I'm glad that they're not in my account anymore kind of thing. And I don't think Game Vault Pod had experienced any last time I checked, which is a good thing.
All right, so Dan's bots are safe.
Yeah. So many large streamers, unfortunately, are feeling huge effects from this. Just to give you an example, I don't know if you guys heard of XQC. He's was the fifth largest Twitch streamer. I don't know where he lands now.
Not anymore.
So he started out with over 8.1 million followers, and after the sweep, he lost 2.2 million of those followers.
That's do people think that like stream botting someone who's got 5 million followers already is going to do something to them? I just don't understand.
I don't know. I think that people, like, the intention behind it is hoping that you're going to get this streamer shut down because Twitch is going to be like, first of all, the streamer already has a bazillion people following him. So are they really going to know if I attack him with all these followers? I think that's it's sad that people are incredible trolls like that. And they found this horrible way of messing with people. And as everyone knows, some streamers, this is their sole income, or, people starting out are working so hard to establish themselves on the platform, and then they're, potentially could get shut down because they don't realize they're getting view botted.
Yeah.
So it's really crappy. But I mean, that's a perfect example of someone who has so many followers that they probably had no idea how many bots they had following them.
Yeah.
And found out the hard way. So I don't know that he's necessarily like, super upset about it, but that's just huge, to think that I didn't do the math on that, but what, like 25% of your viewers or 20% of your viewers were bots?
And when you have 5 million followers, that's a lot.
Right.
Yeah. Jen, can I assume the ones that were view botted to be shut down all identify as the same gender for the most part?
Probably. Are you saying most of them are men?
No. I'm thinking
he's probably thinking they're either women or trans or something of that nature.
Oh, well, no, actually, that is a good point because there are people in groups that I'm into who are saying, like a lot of the women's only networking groups I'm in will say like people will come in and they'll make fun of them for being overweight or showing too much skin or not enough skin or like, what's your OnlyFans? And then they usually, if they answer back to these people, then they get view botted or they get reported or they get, spammed, and it's really shitty. So yeah, I'm sure. I thought you were saying because a lot of the main streamers were men that they were the ones experiencing, but yeah, I could see it from that point of view too.
Yeah, just wanting to get, gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Sadly, it exists.
Yeah, because I know I follow a couple streamers that use the LG. I'm gonna screw it up.
LGBTQ plus.
Yeah, that's it. Tag on on Twitch, and they get a lot of stuff of people just clicking on that and then just being real shitty in some kind of way.
Yep, I've heard about that too.
No matter what.
Terrible.
So I'm not surprised if view-botting happens in those things too.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a new way to harass.
Right. And it's like I said, like, some people, can you imagine being so, if you're a new streamer starting out, you don't really understand all of the Twitch platform, and you're doing a stream and you get hit with like 50 followers. You're like, oh my God, somebody must have found me. Like, and then you don't know any better. You don't report it to Twitch. So they're not they're not aware of the fact that you're not in on it. And then you wind up getting shut down. Like, and that's the underlying motive with these people is to just get streamers shut down, which is disgusting.
I mean, it's real shitty.
But yeah, if it ever happens, I mean, it's going to keep happening, unfortunately, because Twitch, I don't know how much more proactive they can be about it than they already are. But right now, if you get hit with a bot account and you know it's fake to begin with, you are supposed to report the account immediately. And Twitch advises that you don't make a big deal about it live on your stream, because that person's gonna be like, oh yeah, well here's 50,000 more. Like, yeah, basically, like, report them instantly, let us know, we'll take care of it, and you're safe. Like, we totally get it, it happens, whatever. So that's the best thing we can do, if you get the wanna be famous person pop into your chat, just ban them and move on. And Twitch I've reported a bunch of them when they come into the Game Vault chat. I report it as a bot, and Twitch sends me an email like the next day, thanks for reporting it, we've removed it, it was a bot account. Done. Moving on. So yeah. Unfortunately, this is the only way to take action against these assholes, because people are finding new ways to troll, which is just so pleasant.
Yep.
That's when I go and yell at clouds. Like, the internet used to be so much better before this crap.
Actually is a perfect segue to our main topic, Tom, yelling at clouds.
Yes, it is. I hope you're all ready to hear us old folks yell at clouds in this next segment. We're going to air our grievances about new consoles and why it was better in the past.
Yeah. And how did this start?
This started because of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I think. It was Call of Duty Modern Warfare's fault, because the game has gotten so bloated and overblown that if you have like a base PS4 or even a I don't even know.
PS5, yes.
Or a PS5, it could be the only game you have installed.
Not that I have any experience.
Nope, none at all.
And that is kind of ridiculous at this point. The price of storage has dropped tremendously since, the 360 days and the PS3 days. Because when you bought it, the original Xbox 360 and PS3, I think, were like the highest you could get was like 120 gigs at one point. And then eventually they raised it to 250 once storage got cheaper. But now 1 terabyte is all you get, and it's not enough.
Yeah, are you telling me over 200 gigabytes is too big, Tom?
Maybe,
For
possibly.
a game? And that's just the multiplayer in Warzone?
Yeah.
Not even the single player campaign?
Yeah, what's the problem with that?
So Jen got really fired up about it in our chat, and so I said, let's talk about it. It is pretty ridiculous these days. So Jen, let's go. You can air your grievance.
That's my main problem. I feel so stupid now, because I caught myself in our group chat and I'm like, wow, I'm old. Because my thing is, and again, I'm going to sound old, I miss being able to pop in a game, a disc, I almost said a CD, a disc, and play the goddamn game without having to download it. And then the other part of that is, okay, fine, if you can't do that anymore and you want us to download the game to be able to play it even if we have a disc, why is my new console that I'm buying the absolute bare minimum for me to play maybe 2 games? It's just unacceptable. And the price you're paying for what you're getting is bullshit. So that's what I was saying. And then I stopped myself at the part where I was like, I remember back in the day when I could just pop in a game. I'm like, whoa, hold on, I'm old.
No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Like, coming from the perspective of someone who grew up with cartridges, and you stuck the cartridge in the console, you turned the power on, and it worked.
Right.
And you had the game. The whole game was there. With the rise of the internet and the ability to patch things after the fact that kind of ruined video games in my eyes, because you have a disc, but basically the disc at this point is just DRM. The disc there's nothing on the disc. I mean, you might get a game like Final Fantasy VII Remake where you install the game with one disc and you play the game with the other disc.
Right.
Yep.
This is like old PC stuff. Like, why is this still a thing?
Yeah.
Why do I need to download the entire game even though I have the disc? And it's not a Blu-ray. It's not like a Blu-ray is small. It's actually 4K Blu-rays now. They can have terabytes of data. Why is it that I have to put the disc in and then you have to download a 210 gig update? Like,
it's frustrating. It
Especially-
almost
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it almost feels like when a PC game comes out and first of all, someone go through early release and they work out all their bugs. So you know what you're getting and you get this game cheaper than it would be normally. And you work through the bugs and they make updates and then they release it and it's supposed to be better. And you have a game like Cyberpunk that comes out and it's the most broken game in the history of time. And then they release an update that's just as big as the game almost. And it releases new bugs and it's still not fixed. And it's taking over everyone's consoles who still, wanted to get it for console. Which,
Yes.
Bless your heart. But Jesus.
I'm one of those people.
I can't imagine how big a remake or remaster of Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be.
Oh my God.
Because that was 100 gigs on PS4.
That was a big game then. Can you imagine?
I can imagine it would be close to 500 gigs.
It's massive.
Like once they get true 4K, blah blah blah, whatever remake remaster they want to do to it. But Jen, you saying stuff is buggy and stuff and everything, that brings to my mind this console generation was rushed and buggy. Like that was like, why did we have to rush these consoles out and stuff just doesn't work on them?
I would make the argument that one side rushed it more than the other.
The side that we purchased.
Yeah. To be honest, the only complaint I've heard about Series X, and maybe I'm just out of the loop, or maybe I'm just around a lot of Sony fans, but the only thing I've heard is just that there's not a lot to play on it.
Well, yeah. There's no new games for the Series X.
Yeah. I haven't heard the same complaints that I've heard about PS5, like with going to sleep issues and not waking up from sleep and, needing to rebuild the hard drive every time or the SSD every time you come out of sleep. The disk's not working. Unless if I'm just missing it, I don't know if I've heard those kind of stories.
No, I haven't heard any misgivings about the Xbox Series X.
And they were ready with everything. Like, even though it's a proprietary kind of expansion of memory, they had one ready to go.
Yeah, and Sony has had the ability to do that. There is a M.2 slot built into the system that you cannot use because they haven't implemented it yet on the console. How do you release a console with this expansion there and you don't have the ability to use it?
Because you have to be at the same time as the other guy.
It's just mind-blowing to me. Like, I think the PS5 should have probably come out this year.
Yeah, I think they both should have come out this year, but
that big update that they just did to allow you to move PS5 games to an external drive, like, that should have been day one. Why was that? Why would that not be a thing already? It's just like, that's really my biggest problem with these new consoles, this current generation, is that they rush them out for no reason because no one could purchase them, and they're full of bugs and just like, there was a bug with the PS5 where if you deleted a game, it could still show up on your home screen and the icon would just be there. And you had to go through like a huge process just to get it removed, because if you had enough of those, they could take up your whole home screen and you could not see the games you actually wanted to play. But they fixed that with this latest update. But how does it get released with these things is mind blowing to me.
Yeah. The flip side to a lot of if we're talking just software here, not hardware. The flip side to it is nowadays I feel is a lot better for software in the fact that if there are bugs and problems in games, they get fixed, and you're not stuck with a game that's almost unbeatable.
Yeah.
Because of a bug.
Most games.
There's plus sides to
Yeah.
software and update like patches and stuff like that.
'Cause,
Yeah.
like you said, you're not stuck with a game that's broken forever and that's it. I wasted my money at the end.
Yeah, this game breaking bug, like there was I forget, somebody was streaming some game, and even the ROM, you like have to make sure you have the right ROM because it has like a game breaking bug
Oh yeah.
in the middle where you can't finish it.
There's differences between like sometimes some Japanese ROMs and American ROMs where the game will just not work. Like Ant was just talking about this on They Call This a Movie. He said in the N64 version of Mortal Kombat 4, if you do the longest tournament, if you beat the first character, it gives you credits. Like that would never happen today. If it did, it'd be fixed like within the week.
Yeah.
I come from the argument that I think we're in a better place software wise, even though some of these games come out rushed and buggy, but at least they can fix them. Or they get delayed and things like that. But you could have the flip side where a game's broken forever and you can't fix it, or you can have the thing where a certain version of the game is the game you want to play as like a speedrunner or something like that because of a certain bug that got fixed in different, because they did do updates, but they were like shadow updates. Like it would just be like the stock in a store would be a different version of the cart in it.
Right, and there might be a different sticker on the box or something.
Yeah, like I do randomizers for Link to the Past, and you have to do a specific Japanese 1.0 ROM to be able to do a randomizer. I don't know exactly why that's specific to randomizers, but I think the reason they use that ROM is because a lot of the bugs you can do, like bomb jumping and just certain things like that get you through the game a little faster, that make it easier for randomizers, only exist on that cart. So, you get that aspect where the broken stuff actually helps. So, and software wise, you can tell who has been around longer in the industry by how willing they are to delay a game and wait for it to be good. Because I always think of the quote from Miyamoto where he says, a delayed game is delayed for a short time, but a broken game is broken forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo, I feel like has a different set of ideals than everybody else.
Yeah, but you can even tell like who are the lead on projects when games get delayed. Like you can go, oh, okay, that's an old school guy that is like, no, this game's broken. And then you get people like CD Projekt Red who are a little bit newer, maybe, and not assuming anything, but I think they would be newer than some of the like early Japanese developers that are still around. And they, needed to get this game out and follow probably what corporate told them to do. CD Projekt.
Yeah, I think that was a corporate thing more than a developer thing.
Yeah, and they just didn't push, hard enough or thought they could get by with it or fix it later, sort of thing. But yeah, it's just I think our main issue is hardware nowadays, in my opinion.
No, yeah, I'm with you because hardware. Also, I'm gonna go off on a tangent here. It's way too big. You can't fit these things in like in a piece of furniture anymore, in like a TV stand.
Right.
They're designed the way they designed the newer consoles. They're designed to be stood up.
They're like statement pieces.
Right. So they're like especially the PS5. I hate the way that stupid thing looks.
It's a binder.
It's so weird, and the way they designed that console and the Xbox Series X, they're designed to be stood up the way the airflow is for the air to come out the top. But who has space to stand up a almost 2 foot tall console and not have it in the way of their television? That's
crazy.
Yeah, I actually have a spot where my PS5 is sitting And maybe that'll show up on the video that may or may not happen to go for our YouTube channel.
Can you imagine like being a parent and not having any clue about this and just knowing, okay, my kid wants the PS5, getting it, and then being like, what the hell is this thing in my living room?
This monolith.
Monolith, exactly.
That's why I tell most parents I know, and they ask me about video games because they know I play, I say, buy your kids a Switch.
Yes.
Yep.
The Switch is nice and small. Yeah, Nintendo's probably like, yes, we win this one.
Because A, there are a lot more kid-friendly Switch games out there than for the other consoles. And you can play all the free-to-play games that their friends play, you know, your Fortnites and stuff like that, on there. And they can also take it and sit in another part of the house and play the games and not have to bother you, or you don't need to give up the living room TV for long periods of time.
And you can plug in a nice little memory card. Yeah, spend like $40, $30, whatever, on how big you want it.
You have to.
Let's not let Nintendo off the hook that easy.
I
know, of course, because, you know, there's many games where you can only have one account on this game on the console.
Nintendo has the absolute worst online capabilities of any system.
Tom beat me to it.
Yeah.
Ever. Especially with like cloud accounts. Like if you have two Switches, it's like impossible to use them both simultaneously. You can't, like, if you wanted to have a home Switch and one you took everywhere with you, which defeats the purpose of a Switch, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
If you try to have a Switch Lite that's just your take it with you, you can't access your cloud saves if it's your second console. It has to be your first console. It's so dumb. They need to like have a meeting with Microsoft, because Microsoft, my God, I can play Forza Horizon 4 anywhere on my computer. I can play it on my Xbox One, or like the VCR. I can play it on the Xbox Series X. I can play it on my phone. And guess what? It has my save. And it logs me in online.
Yeah, good old smart delivery.
Like,
we all make fun of it.
Everybody needs to have a meeting with Microsoft. Like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Please help us. Especially Nintendo.
Yeah, and the thing I was going to, outside of the online, not leave Nintendo off the hook, is that they go for the cheapest materials possible.
Yeah,
in their systems.
The Joy-Con drift problem that everyone's having.
And I'm not saying that sometimes in a good business sense, that's fine. If you're not trying to compete with the top of the top in terms of power and output and all that, and you could save a couple $100 million, you know, by not going top of the line equipment,
right,
or chipsets. That's the funny part. That is probably why there's a lot more Switches available than PS5s.
Yeah, because they're using an old chipset.
They'll use an older chipset in it. And that's Mr. Nintendo looking ahead.
Yeah.
Knew a global pandemic was coming and was let's put Animal Crossing out right when that pandemic happens.
That was so cool.
If you ever want to hear some great rants, just try and see if people have pulled it on YouTube of Vinny Caravella from Giant Bomb just going insane because he can't play Animal Crossing because the Switch that they play it on, the family Switch, his son started the island, so he would need to delete his son's save to be able to start his own island.
Oh, yeah.
And he just goes on rants about it, like how it's Groundhog Day when he goes in, because he goes in and does the same thing because he cannot progress in the game because the mayor is an 8-year-old and has not been around for 6 months. And all the characters are complaining to his character, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Yep, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also the online stuff is ridiculous for Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo they need to put Xbox Live on the Switch, and
I think it's coming. I mean,
I hope so.
Something is definitely coming with Xbox and Nintendo, just because all the Microsoft Xbox videos lately have had a Switch in the background.
Really?
Yeah. So, and, you know, now people are starting to look for that stuff. So maybe it was a red herring, you know.
Right.
That they're doing that.
That's pretty
because, what's his name? Phil Spencer did like 2 press conferences with an Xbox Series, the small one.
Series S.
Series S. Just sitting on a shelf behind them. Like months before they announced what it looked like and all that.
Wow.
Sad sitting back there. No one noticed
awesome.
it.
I love that.
Yeah, and it was great. So now everybody looks in their backgrounds all the time, and they've noticed the last two people have had switches like prominent, like be right behind them and on camera. So, but the best thing would be to put Game Pass on Nintendo on the Switch. And
well, they also have. I was gonna say they also have the ability to do game streaming now. They've been doing that with.
Yeah.
They've been testing that with certain games that would not run well on a Switch. They've been doing streaming instead.
Right.
Yeah, and the only downside that I've seen from people complaining are basically Xbox fanboys complaining, going, "Oh, what's Nintendo going to do for us? Are we going to get to play Mario on our Xboxes?"
Like who? Like that's not what it's the. That's not the point. Like
Yep.
I don't know. Like
it's people wanting to defend their purchase, essentially.
it's what I just don't understand in this day and age, especially. I don't understand fanboyism anymore. Like the console wars are over. They died a lot, like with the 360.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like it's not worth the effort.
No, and there's no reason to go in on anybody with that stuff because maybe maybe the reason they don't have your console of choice, like we don't have Xboxes because pretty much everything that we want to play for Xbox is probably going to come out on PC as well.
Right.
So, but for PS5, that's not true yet. At least they might be. They've been testing the waters with Horizon and some stuff on Steam.
That's my other complaint is that at this point they're just PCs.
Yeah,
consoles are now they're just PCs.
They're PCs with no memory.
Yep. It's essentially like the fanboyism is no more than it's not like kids arguing. It's literally people who either do have an undiagnosed, mental health issue that they just need to always feel like they're superior. They need that validation, which isn't healthy. That they should get checked out for, and that's why they scream at Sony people because they bought an Xbox. Or it's just people that are like I even find myself doing this for purchases outside of video games. Like you always want to justify why you made that high price purchase.
Yeah,
sure.
And
you want to make sure you got the right thing. You want to tell everybody that you got the right thing.
And instead of coming out with just praising your side, you feel you have to drag down the other side.
Right.
And that's why a lot more the fanboy culture is a lot more toxic than maybe I was too young and naive back with Nintendo and Genesis.
Yeah, we if you were a teenager during that time, I'm sure it was a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all know that Sega does what Nintendo don't. I mean, it's obvious. But yeah, and I to be honest, I blame the Sega executives for all this. Because literally, I think we've all watched High Score, the documentaries.
Yes.
And that executive basically said what we're saying is that they wanted, the people to choose their side and then defend their side. That was the whole point of being edgy and stuff like that, was to get the teenagers and then get them to ridicule the people that picked Nintendo.
And say it was a kiddie console.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they started all that. But final point from me for old man yell at cloud thing. I just want the ability to not feel like I need to be forced to finish a game, so that I can delete it off my hard drive. I would like that was the great thing about cartridges and disc is that if I wasn't feeling a game, I could go, all right, I'll pick that up later maybe.
Or
and don't have to worry about it sitting
something
on my hard drive, and then having to re-download it if I do get in the mood. And by the time it downloads, maybe I'm not in the mood anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think of that a lot. That's why Tales of Berseria is still sitting in my hard drive space, and I kind of probably should delete it. It's because I do want to finish it, but I also still have my PlayStation 4 hooked up, to which I could probably just play it on there and not use the space on my PS5.
Yeah. Yep, I understand.
But I'm a rare case that I still have both hooked up.
Yeah, I unhooked my PS4 as soon as I plugged the PS5 in and moved my saves over.
It's more of a laziness issue on my end.
It's, I mean, I got the new console. I might as well use it. That's really what it comes down to.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm doing, but I'm talking about the not unhooking the PS4 is more of a laziness thing than an actual, like, conscious decision.
Yeah.
It's just like, I gotta crawl back there and get those wires. It's perfectly fine where it is now. I just needed the giant space with the Xbox One was sitting because that was the bigger console.
Yeah.
So that's where the PS5 has to go. So I'll unhook that and go through that. But I'm not hooking two systems. So that's why my PS4 is still hooked up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, my final thing on it is that the new consoles these days are so similar that it doesn't matter which one you have. Yeah. Like, it used to matter. The only thing that matters is what games you play on it.
Right.
But they're literally the same. Their chips are made by the same people. They're both AMD based consoles with AMD graphics. And they're essentially just really what's the word I'm looking for? Streamlined PC components. That's all they are. Yeah. Like, you can put PC eventually, now that I've yelled about it, you will eventually be able to put a PC solid state drive into a PlayStation 5. And you can already use external PC hard drives with these things. So if it wasn't such a terrible time to purchase PC parts, I would just say, just build a PC, because you can keep updating it. And it seems now that Sony is even deciding that it's going to put more games on PC, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Jen, I don't know if you had any final thoughts on this before we stop yelling at clouds.
Yeah. We're almost done. I would say, I mean, just going back to my main issue with all of this, and I don't have a brand new console yet. So mine stems even still with the PS4. I'm just tired of having to, like, you just went out and bought a $500, $600 console, however much it was. And now you're like, well, now I have to go get an external hard drive for it, which is another X amount of money. Like, no, it should have the space on it for you to play a normal amount of games. And then fine, if you want to add extra space, add extra space. So that's my biggest issue, is just, and I was always a console person. I was never, even though I grew up playing PC games, I was never on that side where it's like, oh, consoles or PC's the master race kind of thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm there now. Like, I'm there. And it's not to be a jerk about it. It's just, it's so much more convenient. And I know what I'm getting for my money, and I'm making it the way I want it to be, and it fits my play style. So, I mean, that's what I would just like to see. My money is actually getting me the ability to play the games that I want. And like Mark said, I shouldn't have to beat a game and immediately delete it so I could play the next game. Like, yep. That's not how I am as a gamer. So that's it. I'm done.
Well, I'm glad,
lowering my fist.
I'm glad we got that out, because, you know, we haven't had a good rant session on this podcast in quite a while. And I do apologize to folks if you're enjoying your consoles and you think we're stupid, but
yeah,
we have grievances and we thought we'd air them. So I hope you're ready for more, because we're going to talk about Metroid for the NES, which was our Retro Roulette game.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, Super Metroid is not the first game in the series. There was one on the NES, which I feel like gets overlooked quite a lot.
Yeah.
When you see Metroid, generally Samus looks like the Super Nintendo version of Samus, not the NES version. It was a pretty cool idea back in the day, because it was a space sci-fi adventure game, where it had a really big twist at the end. It will spoil here because it's a 30-year-old game at this point. 35. It came out in 86. So
yikes. Yeah, it's old.
Thanks, Jen.
We're the same age. It's okay.
So yeah. I'm curious, Jen, to hear what you think about this, because this is another one of those games that you would have never experienced if we didn't do this. And you've only really had experience with Super Metroid, correct?
Yep, exactly. And my experience with Super Metroid was not extensive either. I watched more gameplay of it than I actually played. So going into this, I was a little apprehensive about it, because, you guys were saying it's definitely difficult. And then watching the stream, I was a little nervous. But I was surprisingly very into this game. I enjoyed it a lot. So much so that I didn't play it as the bare minimum. I actually went back to it a few times and messed around with it. So I will say the first thing that I learned about this game is that you can't shoot down, which I think is pretty dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
You can only shoot forwards, backwards, and upwards. And I got the hang of that pretty quickly. It's fine, whatever. The other thing I noticed pretty much right from the beginning is that there are plenty of enemies that will dive down at you, and they're kind of aggressive. The shooting bats, I actually surprisingly got the hang of quickly, which I didn't think I was going to be able to do. Although it is very overwhelming when you have several enemies crawling at you on the ground where you can't crouch and shoot at them, at least to the point where I'm at. I don't know if that's ever an ability in the game. I haven't gotten as far yet. But you really can just jump over them and wait for them, at least at the part that I'm at, for them to, go on the wall or go above you. So it gets a little overwhelming. I actually got stuck right in the beginning. So I went as far as you can go to the right, and then you hit that wall, and you're like, I see the enemy going under the wall, so I know I have to, but I can't, do the ball yet. So I'm like, what did I miss? And I went back and forth a few times, and I'm like, crap. So I went to our stream, and I watched the first, 3 minutes, and I'm like, oh, there's a whole section to the left of the start, which is really weird and also kind of cool.
So, Jen, you didn't draw your own map?
I did not draw my own map because I wanted to play through this to get a feel for the game, because I know I really don't have a lot of time to commit. I didn't want to set aside a lot of time to commit to this game, to be honest, because I have all these other streams that I'm doing. But I enjoyed it so much that I do want to go back through and actually draw out my own map, and I want to post it when I'm done and see what it looks like. But yes, this is when I learned the importance of drawing your own map, like you guys were saying in the very beginning, because your start is not the start of the whole game and you continue forward. It's the middle, perhaps, who knows, which is really cool. So, after looking at the stream, so thank you for that. Another good use to our stream.
No problem.
I enjoyed it. I got past the very beginning, and again, I realized how much I liked it, which again surprised me. One thing I noticed, this game takes a lot of patience. There are parts where you just need to sit on a platform and wait for an enemy to circle once or twice instead of just rushing through the levels, because as addicting as it is to keep jumping from platform to platform to platform, eventually you're going to mess up and fall into lava, or you're going to hit an enemy that's somehow attacking you in your face 50 times before you can slash at it once, and it's going to knock you backwards kind of thing. So a lot of patience is a good thing in this game. And there are parts where you are going to take damage regardless of how good you're doing. Like I said, the enemies are going to be swarming you at times. But I found if you kind of grind with the little guys, you get the extra life points. And that way, when you're swarmed by enemies in a harder level, you can actually do your best without feeling like you're going to get your ass kicked and have to start over from the beginning. So that was what I was doing. I was kind of trying to get as many little guys as I could to beef myself up, essentially.
That's smart.
But I had a really good time with this game. Like I said, I don't want to commit to this, hard commit to this, but I could see myself playing this game to complete it and then moving on, on to the other games in the series. So we'll see. But Samus has always been one of my favorite female video game characters forever.
She was kind of the first real protagonist, I feel like, in at least in console gaming.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you can make the argument that you didn't really know that she was the first until the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yes, you can definitely make that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I would have loved to see reactions of gatekeepers.
Yeah.
When they realized it was a female.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so for me, what this game did the most was make me want to play two other games.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it quite as much as Jen did. Probably because I have more history with Super Metroid, actually playing it, and this game just made me want to play Super Metroid more than this game. Because Super Metroid is it's like whenever I play Legend of Zelda.
Yeah,
As a link to that game, it just makes me want to play Link to the Past. It, more, just because it's just a better game, and you can make an argument for Super Mario and Super Mario 3, or even World. That's what these first games that came out on NES, in my opinion, at least to me, make me want to do.
I definitely agree with you there. I feel like playing Metroid, you kind of just are playing Metroid to get the feel for the series,
Yeah.
to see where it came from, and then go and play the good ones.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of quality of life stuff that got added as they went on.
Map.
Like a map. The ability to save. Right.
Yeah.
So, but that was a lot of those early NES games, which their only appeal to me now is, just the, outside of nostalgia, just the kind of quirks they have. Like, what I'm talking about is totally out of game. Like the Legend of Zelda, the only thing that really draws me to that is the gold cartridge. Having a gold cartridge is kind of cool. For Metroid, it's got that old gray box. A lot of those.
I feel like Metroid was one of the only ones that had a gray box.
Was it?
But
gray?
It was a. It's a black.
Konami.
It's a black label.
Yeah, Konami was black box. Yeah. I was thinking they were gray too, but they may have been black boxes. But anyway, but it has a distinctive one. It has the little thing at the bottom where Nintendo had all those labels for types of games. It was labeled an adventure game, and it looked like the guy from Pitfall in it, which Metroid, you could make an argument, is not what a typical adventure game in 1986
no, definitely not.
was describing, but that's what it says on the box. And then the second game this game made me really want to play is, in my opinion, a better game on the NES, which is Mega Man 2. Because
I would argue that they're very different types of games. I mean, there's the mechanics are similar, but the game itself is different.
Yeah, I'm like, if I'm going to be shooting from a blaster from my hand, I'd rather do it with Rockman right now. And plus, I've beaten Mega Man 2. I've never beaten Metroid, so that could be more of where my opinion comes. The games that I've beaten more often are the ones I was like, I'd rather play those.
It's a nostalgia thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think I've beaten, like, going back to the Zelda comparison, I think I've beat original Zelda a couple times, but I've beaten A Link to the Past outside of randomizers, over 24 times. So, that's where just the want to play that game, I don't want to suffer through the unnecessary hardness that NES games, especially 85 to 87 NES games had.
Yep.
When they were first
Super Mario 3
quarter munchers.
Yeah, pre Super Mario 3, I'd say, or Super Mario 2 even.
Yeah. When they were still technically arcade ports, quarter munchers, still had scores at the top. Metroid may be one of the first that didn't have that stuff in it, at least surface wise. Mario still had the score at the top, and Metroid still had the score at the top. But yeah, that was really the only things. I didn't get as far as Gen. I got through a first couple, going up and down those verticality things and in and out, and I was just like, I get the gist of this game. I've played games in this genre before. The fact of not having a map, maybe that makes me a casual gamer, but it just bothers me. The only reason I can really do it in the other game I mentioned is because I pretty much know that map from playing it and watching other people play it. I don't know exactly where all the dungeons are in that game, but I can get okay, now I know where I'm, but with this, Metroid, sometimes a lot of the places look the same, and
it is very confusing that's what I noticed when I was going through, but wait, did I come here the last time or not? And you'd have to just go and see, be like, oh wait, I was here. And the enemies respawn, so it's like you got to do it all over again. And
it's pretty much, I think we talked about this on stream, Tom. It's pretty much one of those games where if this was one of the two games you had, of course you played this.
Right.
Oh yeah, and you played it a lot.
So I feel like, and I hope I don't offend anyone out there by saying this, but I feel like that's where a lot of the Metroid fandom comes from. Like the people that love the original. That it was one of the games, like they got Metroid instead of Mario, So
honestly,
they played you can make the same argument for Zelda as well. It's like that was the game they got, so that's why they became such a fervent fan of that game, and especially this game. While I could say there is much better games out there, and I am definitely not one of those that says you have to go all the way back to the original to understand the game. I think if you want to go back in time, to a game's history, you go back to the first time they got it right. Whether that's
I understand
Super
that
Mario,
argument.
As I said, whether that's Super Mario 3 or World, Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Mega Man 2. Like, you don't have to play Mega Man to understand Mega Man. Mega Man 2 is perfectly fine to start someone off with. You can, like, even with Final Fantasy, you could probably start people with 4, 5, or 6, Japanese 4, 5, or 6.
Yeah, I wouldn't start anybody with I wouldn't start anybody with 1, 2, or 3 probably.
Yeah. And that was the main thing I learned going through Metroid for the 20 to 45 minutes that I played of it. Was just like, yeah, I get this. And, there's a reason I never went back and tried to beat this game, and played through Super Metroid, or at least a good chunk of Super Metroid a lot more. That's just my feeling on it. I definitely have more limited play than the two of you, but I feel that, and I think this goes for a lot in these older games, for me and you, Tom, is that we played through this era. So we can play 10 minutes and go, yeah, I get this. I got it.
Right.
Yeah.
I know how I feel about this game, and there's nothing that's going to change in the 6 hours that this game takes to beat that would change my opinion on it. That's why I always like Jen's perspective on these older games, just because it's kind of fresh eyes to it.
Yeah, exactly.
From a modern perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about all. I know it's a ranty stuff about things that don't have to do with actual Metroid, the video game, but I feel that this was a good game to come up to have this kind of discussion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm in the boat that I kind of wish this would have been one of my games when I only had 5 games for the NES, because I feel like I would have really gotten into the series, and I never really did because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. So it's one of those series that I missed out on, and I'm glad that I can now go back and play it. And playing the first one, I feel like for me it was kind of a cool experience to draw my own map and do that on stream and kind of share that with everybody, because it's not something you do these days. Like, that's not something, like, if it's not being told to you on the screen, it's not, you don't need it. Like even in Red Dead Redemption 2, they ship the game with a map, but it's useless. Like, you don't need it, because even if you turn off the HUD and stuff in Red Dead Redemption 2, it'll still direct you to where you need to go.
Yeah. I completely love the, lack of HUD, but still being able to know where to go. I don't know, I still don't know how people survived with these older games. Without any direction. Maybe I'm a waypoint snob. Excuse me, or something.
We've already established we're all old here.
Yeah, but yeah, I just don't. Yeah, all that quality of life stuff that's come through. I don't know how people did without it. So yeah, continue. Sorry, I thought jumping.
No,
again.
yeah, that's totally fine. But yeah, I agree that playing Super Metroid would probably be much better. Like, if you're looking for a Metroid game to play Super Metroid just because of the quality of life stuff.
Or Prime.
But
they're two different games.
Yeah, but if you want a 2D Metroid, play Super.
Yeah.
But it's cool to go back, though, for me at least, just to see where it came from. Like, I could play Metroid and not just play for a couple hours. I'm like, okay, that was cool. I don't need to beat it, because I know if I was going to put the time into a game, I would probably want to put the time into the better game. But I like just getting the experience of being a kid again and drawing my own map and looking up I'm not looking up, but just finding these new abilities. Like, I knew I was going to have to roll into a ball at some point, so I had to find that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was going to need to blow up these walls, so I needed something to do that. So it's a cool aspect of an adventure game from the past. It's kind of something you don't see as well. I mean, the real problem is kind of like watching old movies. Everything now seems so derivative if you go back in the past and watch an old film. It's the same way with video games, because now every video game is based on this game. This is the game that started all those things. So it kind of feels simple and derivative if you come from a time now where Metroidvanias are one of the most popular games in the, everywhere. Yeah. Every indie game is a Metroidvania. So, it's just one of those things where you kind of have to put yourself in a different mindset when you're going to play an older game like this. It's just hard because you're so used to all of these tropes being in a game already. The one thing I will say though, I feel like Metroid is a lot more forgiving than say Castlevania.
Yeah, the NES version, yes.
So I feel like a lot more people could have been drawn. If you're into medieval stuff or whatever, you'd go for Castlevania. But if you were into space and aliens and all that kind of stuff, you'd go for Metroid. So I feel like it was a cool thing to have the choice back then.
Yeah. The number one thing of this game, and I'm surprised, or maybe I missed you guys talk about it, but just like most of these early NES games, the music is fantastic.
Oh yeah,
in this game.
I forgot to mention that, but I kind of mentioned that in every one of these games.
I feel like I did too.
Yeah.
But yes, the music was awesome. It was some of the best chiptune 8-bit music I've heard in quite a while.
Yeah.
And if you have the chance, just look up on YouTube, just type in Metroid OST and just put it on the background. It's pretty awesome just to listen, because that's one of the best parts about old video game soundtracks is there's no lyrics, so you can kind of just put it on whenever and just listen to it. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Now that we're all done reminiscing, what scores are we going to give it? Jen, start with you.
I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Ooh, Jen with a big score.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark?
I was going to go 3.5.
Okay.
Just because I am, I guess, kind of a snob for quality of life stuff as I've gotten older. So it took the quality down a little bit for me. But essentially, it's just, it's a really good game. If you like getting into, nostalgia and looking back at retro games, for the younger viewers out there, go ahead and play it. Don't feel like obligated to beat it or anything. But I think this game, of the, I guess, the three major ones, and maybe this is a hot take or controversial opinion, but of the three we talked about in terms of Zelda, Mario, and Metroid, I think this one may have been the one that aged the worst, of the three. But maybe that's also a bias thing, but that's just how I felt playing it.
Yeah, that's fair. You're a Zelda fan, so that's fair. I would argue that it aged better than Zelda, just because if you don't need to have like a walkthrough to beat Metroid, I feel like. But if you're playing The Legend of Zelda for the first time, I feel like if you could just never find everything, especially now, because you don't have all the time in the world to find these things. I forget who said it on stream or whatever, but we were talking, and we were talking about it on They Call This a Movie. We were saying how, like, back in the day you had 100 hours to sink into figuring out how to beat a game, but these days it's a lot different, and I feel like that's kind of why Metroid might be a better choice if you're going to try out an original black box, black label a Nintendo game. I'm also going to give it a 4. Granted, it's a 4 based on Nintendo games. It's not based on, being the best in the series or whatever. But I would say to you, if you were going to play a Metroid game, play Super Metroid. But if you want to experience it from the beginning, you should totally play this game. Draw yourself a map. And if you have a flash cart, play the patched version that allows you to save. Just because that will make your life a lot easier than having to remember a 30 character password or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, pretty positive on this game. I'd say go check it out. Just, even if you want to just load it up in an emulator for 20 minutes, We won't tell anybody.
I mean, who plays games for emulators and
I-
even streams them?
Not me, that's for sure.
I don't know who does that.
Oh, by the way, if you're watching Mark's playthrough of Paper Mario, episode 2, there I should have put a seizure warning because I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but all kinds of graphical issues started happening and flashing.
Yeah, I got to check out that cart. I got to see what's wrong with it.
Yeah. Who knows?
I blow on it.
We couldn't do it midstream though, so
it was that one person's house.
Yeah, it was the wizard's house, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, let us spin the wheel. Okay. I don't think we've played this yet, and it should be interesting. We're going to play another Nintendo game, Super Mario Brothers 2.
Nice.
U.S., Japanese.
U.S.
Okay.
We're not playing Lost Levels. God, I would rage quit so hard on stream if we were playing Lost Levels.
I'm a little less excited now.
I'm sorry, Mark. You're welcome to play that to play the
Oh
Japanese
no,
version.
It's not me playing it that.
Oh, you wanted me to play it.
Yes.
So yeah, we're playing the U.S. version of Super Mario Brothers 2, which is famously a reskin of another game called Doki Doki Panic. But it kind of became well loved, and they even released the game in Japan as Super Mario Brothers US.
Yeah, the one bit of trivia which we all learned if we watched the gaming historian stuff, is the main thing that one of the main differences in the game, which going back to my conversation about Metroid, that I am kind of upset this game has that Doki Doki doesn't have, that Doki Doki Panic has, is that you could save when you beat a level.
Yeah,
which is nice.
You know, but then again, Doki Doki Panic had the objective that you had to beat the game with all 4 characters to get the ending.
Correct.
So that's the downside to it. But you could save when you've beaten a world.
Yeah.
Because it was a disc system game, Doki Doki Panic, or whatever that.
Yeah, Famicom disc system.
Yeah, so it was able to save.
So yeah, this should be fun. I have not played Super Mario Brothers 2 in quite a long time. It's also interesting because it's more vertical than horizontal, which is different for the Mario world.
Yeah.
So come check it out on Monday or this evening when we're playing it.
I will probably, if it's on there, I think it is, I'll probably play this on my Switch.
Ooh.
Yes, it should definitely be on Switch.
Sweet.
So you guys won't have to do anything crazy to play it this week.
Yeah, plug in our cartridges.
Hook up your old consoles.
Yep.
Oh crap! I just realized it's going to be a nightmare to try to play it on my system. All right. I
should have noticed if it was on there when I played, because I believe Metroid's on Switch too. I think that's where I played it. But
yeah, they have most of the good stuff from NES, at least.
Yeah.
All right. It's been a fun episode. Mark, you want to let everybody know about all of our other family of podcasts before we get out of here?
Yeah. So Stranger Damies, our D&D podcast, airs episodes every Wednesday. So coming up this Wednesday will be episode 5, which is where I believe we get a good bit of background on what you guys will be doing on the first arc, or at least your first arc story. So be sure to look out for that so you guys can kind of see what we're going for. But I do have a Talking with Strangers that aired last Wednesday that I'm really proud of, and I would like everybody to go check it out. Me and Ant do about a half-hour discussion about being a DM, when to question your DM, different styles of DMing, just kind of good conversation like that. That was sort of outside of my normal just ask questions about the episode sort of thing. I like to have those special episodes every so often, and it's if something happens in the game, like if someone levels up to something important, just having discussion about leveling up and things like that, So this was the first of those in the series, so be sure to check it out. We stream Stranger Damies Friday nights. It'll be every other Friday, so it'll be this Friday coming up, and then every other Friday after that in the evening, so 7, 8 p.m. Be sure to check out our Twitter at Stranger Damies for updates on exact times. If we haven't already tweeted about it, it'll probably be tweeted about this week. So check that out. They Call Us Movies, our movie podcast. Airs every Thursday. And you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at The Main Damie. TheMainDamie.com is our main website. That's where all of our podcasts live. That's where all of our writing lives.
Oh,
it's a one-stop shop. Yeah.
I forgot to mention, I was a guest on They Called This a Movie this week.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, you were.
We talked about Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat movie. So if you like that and you're looking forward to the new Mortal Kombat, go check out that episode.
Yes, the Bridget Wilson Sampras Mortal Kombat. Her name's above the title card. So that's basically one-stop shop for everything. If you listen to podcasts on browsers, couldn't recommend it enough. And Jen, so what's our streaming schedule?
Yep. So as we alluded to, after you're listening to this, you should be looking forward to tonight's Retro Roulette, where we're playing Super Mario 2. So that is going to be for this Monday, and then every other Monday we alternate Retro Roulette with Tom's playthrough of Suikoden. So that's a good time. If you guys haven't checked in for either one, you definitely should. Tuesdays are always our day off. Wednesday is Apex After Dark, where we all play oh my gosh, I almost did it again. So used to saying Warzone, where we play Apex Legends together on stream. And like I said before, we're getting better at it. It's been fun. So we're always looking for some advice, if you don't mind dropping in for that. Thursday is kind of jam-packed. So I think Dan is streaming Breath of the Wild most Thursdays around 7 p.m. Eastern time, and then making the way for Mark at 9 p.m. with his Paper Markio. And then Fridays, as Mark said, we are going to be streaming Stranger Damies, our D&D session. And when we're not, it's a day off because we are recording this podcast. And then Saturday will be Monster Hunter Rise. Sunday will be Dan with Breath of the Wild again, and then we're back at Monday. It's gonna take me a while to get used to this new schedule because I'm so used to saying Warzone Wednesdays and stuff. But I'm gonna update our Twitter account for you guys. That way you have the new schedule, so you don't have to rely on me trying to remember it. But that's the schedule.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm already trying to figure out what game I'm going to be playing next after Suikoden, so be on the lookout for a Twitter poll between two more rather long RPGs. So I hope you guys are ready for more of me menuing for hours. All right. So before we get out of here, I want to mention that we are an affiliate of Stone Age Gamer. If you have a need for any retro console accessories, whether it be controllers or cables or power supplies or flash carts or mods or memory cards or anything like that, feel free to go check out their store through the link in our description. It's an affiliate link, so anytime you purchase something through it, we get a little bit of a kickback, and it helps us improve this podcast and our streams and everything else. So if any help would be greatly appreciated. So I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us, and I hope you guys are all out there staying safe and be nice to each other. And for Mark and Jenny, I am Tom, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.